To you, sir. Hey guys, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join in. Whether you're watching this live or you're going to watch this in the rerun, I want to let you know that I do appreciate you taking the time. Either way, our time is valuable, and spending some of yours with me this evening is fantastic. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. We're going through a heat wave here in Holland right now. it's it's in the Netherlands. It's pretty brutal. We've had about 5 days of just record-breaking temperatures. So it's the lights to a minimum. I'm even debating. I'm even debating turning this one off. So yeah, no, that's all right for right now. By the way, guys, let's do a sound check. How's my sound? How's my video? How's everything? We're gonna let me know. I'm getting a little bit of a delay here. I'm not quite too sure if you're getting it as well. By the way, guys, let's do a sound check. How's my sound? How's my video? How's everything? Okay, that's good. That's good. Sounding good. All right. Here, I'm not quite too sure if you're getting it as well. Let me turn this down. Let's do a sound check. How's my sound? How's my video? How's it? Okay, that's good. That's good. Sounding good. All right. Here, I'm not quite too sure if you're. Let me turn this down. Let's do a sound check. How's my sound? How's my video? How's it? Okay, that's good. That's good. Sounding good. All right. Here, I'm not quite too sure if you're. Let me turn this down. Let's do a sound check. How's my sound? How's my video? How's it? Okay, that's good. That's good. Sounding good. All right. Here, I'm not quite too sure if you're. Let me. All right, guys. Sometimes with this, if you kick yourself out and you kick yourself back in again, it works. I think we've gotten rid of yeah. This program has been weird. I just don't know. I actually took the app off my phone. Thanks, guys. And reinstalled it because we were having so many problems last week. Hey, welcome. We're all doing well here. I hope you're doing well as well. And it's just been a mess. YouTube's been a mess. I don't know if it's the software on my end or on their end. Yeah, you know what? I learned from an episode of The Big Bang Theory that the best thing to do is just to turn it off and turn it back on again. If you guys know that. Yeah, I'm sweating, guys. It's no lie. As a matter of fact, I'm going to crack this door a little bit and let some of that fan air in. It is hot, guys. And as you know, there's Dutch houses are made. They're designed really for keeping heat in. They weren't exactly thinking about, hey, greetings there, welcome everybody. They weren't exactly thinking in design concepts of letting heat out. So these things can get to be ovens. I'm lucky because I'm on the top floor and I can get a breeze going through this way. But I can't keep the window here in the studio open or there would be just, hey, Frederick, welcome. There would just be too much noise from the street, which is out here, which is amazing. That is the one cool thing is that this really is, once you shut those windows, this room becomes soundproof. So that was good, especially when I was doing vocals in here. But yeah, I'm sweating, guys. It's a hot one. It's a hot one here. But anyway, I'm glad to be here with you guys. If you saw on my show this week that I released yesterday, I talked about the Harley Benton guitar that I bought 2 years ago, the double cut custom. I think Ben pointed out that I think I protested too much about the neck. When I read that, I guess he's like, I guess you didn't like the neck. I'm like, and that just cracked me up because I didn't mean to come across that strongly about disliking the neck on that guitar. It's just it really is it's a rough one to play because it's super thin. It's got these jumbo threads on it, man. Those things are like speed bumps, when you're playing. But it has a really great tone to it. Beautiful here in southern Illinois this afternoon, sunny and 83. Yeah, Well, it's weird, guys. I moved here from Singapore, which isn't exactly the most chilliest place on the planet. I lived there for 5 years. And of course, every house had, I had, my house had air conditionings. I had six air cons in the house total, maybe seven. And servicing them was not cheap because I had to do that every year because I was renting. But it was a different kind of heat than you get here in this part of Europe. When that sun comes out, it's actually more brutal here than it was in Singapore on the equator. And yeah, dig that. And these last 5 days has just been brutal, man. It's just been just god awful hot. And been making do though. I've been making sure that my dog Hoshi's getting her ice water. We walk early in the morning, stuff like that. So you adjust. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. Trust me, this will not last. So I'm taking it in stride because I know it'll probably be freezing this year. Um, yeah, I'll do a video, guys. It's freezing in here. um, but yeah, this week I did that video on my Harley Benton, and I talked a little bit about the pickups on it. And I talked about these pickups that I ordered off of Reverb, um, and would love to see your dog sometime. Yeah, yeah, I'll get her in here someday. She may come in here and lay down if it gets hot enough in the room next door. I bought these super cheap. I mean, these were $30. I think 36 with shipping or something like that. I paid 36 for it with including shipping and whatever that worked out to. And I didn't expect much because I wanted to take the pickups I have in the Harley Benton out. As I pointed out before, the price of those pickups has skyrocketed. And I'm thinking about taking, well, I'm not thinking about it, I know I'm going to take that Harley Benton and try to either do a trade thing where I can trade it up to something really nice and give it to that children's musicians charity that we gave the other Harley Benton to. Um, and so I'm thinking along those lines. So I'm changing the pickups, and I said, well, I'll get a set that I hope are decent. I wanted cream, and these happened to work out, or white cream. These just happened to work out to be in one of the cheapest ones there. So I got it. I snagged them. Um, but this is going to lead into my discussion of title tonight, that Reverb is getting worse. And bear with me here because in the getting of these pickups, therein lays a tale. Now, you know, I think the last I'm a seller on Reverb. I sell some things, pedals mostly, and other stuff. Especially when I was doing the great pedal unload of 2022, getting rid of just a whole box of stuff, just unloading it because I didn't need it. And so I've been doing that for. I got preferred status on there, preferred seller status. Got a good 100% rating. Everybody's happy with my shipping. If there's something that didn't quite work out, I always made it right. And then there also lays a problem as well. I'll get to that in a minute. But I have noticed, and I have to thank actually the Reverb is getting worse. That line actually came from Phil McKnight's most recent video. I like to watch his channel. I find Phil McKnight to be a pretty solid guy, what we call a solid guy. And I like listening to him when I'm doing some chores or doing things and hear his perspective on things because it's very valuable. And he's made the statement, Reverb is getting worse. And I just chuckled. I said, I'm going to, and he left it at that. He didn't really expand upon it, but I'm going to expand upon it a little bit myself. So I'll pick up the baton on that one. Of the last 3 deals, Yeah, he has. Yeah, yeah, Don Juan. He has a great channel. He's one of the OGs. And on top of that, um, he is a good luthier, or at least to the point where he can do some good work on his own. And he's aspirational to a lot of cats like me in that regard. I like tools. I like working with my hands, and I hope to build over here in this corner. You can't see it here behind me, but over here, this direction, I've got a pretty big space, and I'm gonna do my workbench and have my tools up on the wall, and do my most of my work here on my instruments that come through. But getting back to Reverb, he made that statement, and I'm kind of taking the baton on it because really, in the last few deals that I've done, the last 3 deals that I've done on Reverb, I've had an issue. I'm going to say 4. Very knowledgeable guy, and tech luthier. I picked up a lot from him. Yeah, solid guy, Don Juan. Really, seriously, guys, if you haven't checked out his channel, Phil McKnight, go to his channel and check it out. But you know, the last 4 deals have had issues. I'll start with this one. Now these came from China. You would say to yourself, "Well, Mike, if you didn't expect trouble shipping something from China, what are you drinking tonight? What are you sipping?" But no, I know this company. I actually ordered, oddly enough, a amber switch tip, because they were the only ones that were producing that had that vintage amber switch tip at a reasonable price. Actually, in a better looking color, more amberish than the one you would get from Gibson. So I ordered one thing from them before. It's not my first rodeo, and that one went fine, but I wasn't in a hurry, not a hurry for it, but I wasn't in need of it to do something. And on the rules on Reverb are very clear. In order to receive payment, so if I sell something on Reverb, and somebody says, "Yes, Mike, I want to buy it," they will send the money through PayPal, through their credit card, a couple of different ways, Reverb payments, to them. They will receive the money and they will hold on to it until I send a shipping tracking label to the buyer. So I have to manually type in the shipping label, where it's coming from with the tracking. It has to have tracking on it. And then the money is released to me. Then I get the money, which is fine. That's straightforward. Every time I gotta sell, I have a statement on my Reverb page that I will get you your article within 24 hours, and I stick to that. I'll pack it up and I will take it and down to the post office here on the corner and get it out, and then I get paid for that. This company, this time with these pickups, they decided that they were going to come up with a tracking number. Being a large distributor there, I'm sure that they've purchased many, tracking slips at a discount from their post office. I'm familiar with that system. You can do something similar to that in Singapore. Uh, but they put up the tracking so that they could get paid, and they didn't ship till 11 days later. So I bought it on the 15th. They shipped it on the 26th, but they received payment on the 15th, the day that I placed the order. They said, "Hey, here's a tracking on this. We're getting this out. No problem." So, and I called them out on that. I said, "Hey, you guys know what you did, and I was getting, and it wasn't until the 26th that I could actually, because that's when they actually sent it, that I was able to start to track it and see where it was at. And it was telling me it wasn't going to get here until this weekend, today. It came a few days, actually came on Friday, so I was able to shoot, no, it came on Thursday, I was able to shoot on Friday and put the video out on Saturday. So, it came in at the time that I needed to, right at the wire. but still, that's a problem because when you guys, so there's an issue where you have a seller, me being the buyer, them being the seller, and that's a big issue. That's actually really not good. That's not cool. That imagine if you bought a guitar from Sweetwater, if you bought a guitar from Tomon, if you paid for it, they received the payment, they sent you a tracking, a shipping, and then you realize that they didn't ship it for almost 2 weeks late, for 2 weeks. They just held it, took the money, but they held it. Imagine anybody else doing that. It wouldn't fly. It flies on Reverb. There's really, hey, did you? Reverb was gonna say, hey, did you get it? Yeah, I got it. Okay, well, we'll have a word with them that they won't. That they won't. And so you don't have a lot of recourse there. The other problems, I was a seller. So as you guys know, I bought several years ago a quad of vintage speakers from Brad the Guitarologist. If you haven't checked out his channel, I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. Go check out him. A good guy, great guy. And I bought a quad of vintage greenbacks. And some of them, one of them had a little bit of, they had some, all of them had, I would say they ranged from fair to good in terms of their condition, the cone and things like that. They still all had, two of them had their original cones. The other ones had been replaced. The other two had been replaced. But I put those up for sale on Reverb one by one. And I could only sell them. I wasn't able to ship them internationally because the cost of shipping to Europe on those things was $400 at the time. So, guys, excuse the sweating. It's really hot. But I'll keep drinking my ice water here. So that was a no-go. So I sold them within the States, and I sold one of them to this guy. And I said, look, this cone's been replaced. This is a 1973, 72, 73 speaker. Some of the edging around it's just showing a little bit of cracks on it, but it is an excellent speaker. I've tested it out. It's got no problems. It's been repaired by one of the top speaker repair guys in LA. I sent these speakers to have them. I kept the best one for myself. That's in my Laney. But the other three I sold. So I sold it to this guy. This was just a little while ago, not too long ago. And he says, okay, I sent him pictures of it. I think you guys know where this is going. I sent him pictures of it, detailed. I showed everywhere where there was issues. But I said to him, look, dude, it's a great speaker. And then, okay. And then he says, I don't have the money right now. Why did you ask me all these questions about it and say you don't have the money right now? He's like, could you come down on it? I was like, no, I think I've priced these fairly. I said, tell you what, I said, if nobody else comes around and you get the money together, I'll keep you first in line. He said, all right. And he got back to me a little while later. And he says, okay, I scraped the money together. It's there. Could you send it to him? And I had it at my brother's place, so my brother sent it to him within the States. I said, bro, could you send this to this guy? Guy gets it, writes back, and he says, this thing is old and crap. This is old speaker. Why is it? Why is it? And I just wanted to reach through the screen and just strangle it. And I wanted to use it for my gig. Coming up on this weekend, and I don't know if I can. I said it's fine. Just there's two lead wires. Put in the screws, put your leads in. Solder them in. You're good to go. And he starts making all of this noise, and it's this, that, and it's not what you said. And could you give me some of the money back? See, it always comes back with these guys. It always comes. Could I get some of the money back? That's why I don't even bother selling stuff. Always something. Yeah, man, dig that. It's always something. But it always comes back to the money. That's really the fundamental of it. It's what it is. I mean, I've never had somebody say, hey, uh, I think I want to say, I think I like the condition of this, but I know it pretty well. I think I owe you about $20 back. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. So this guy, and it ended up inevitably where he said, "Oh, I'm gonna return it. And I'm gonna do all this." Um, Yo, bros. Hey, welcome, Hammy. Um, and and you have to do the same the partial refund dance. You gotta figure out, all right, dude, to shut you up, I'm gonna give you, and that's what it really is. I mean, I'm being, uh, you know, a little rude about it, but it is what it is. Correction on my Gibson, it's a maple top. Not, oh, sorry, guys. Yeah, guys, I'm sweating. I'm not even gonna lie. This is gonna be called the Sweatbox Show because again, these Dutch apartments have no air conditioning. I got a fan blowing here right in front of me, but this room catches a lot of heat. So I'm gonna sweat through this, guys. If you don't mind, if it's all right with you. Yeah. No, nothing to wipe my face with. I grab my guitar strap and but no. So I'm in sweat through, but I'm all right, guys. Actually, I feel good, and I'm sipping really good cold water. Yeah, cold water. Got it right here. I sent him $25 refund, and that was the end of him. I told you guys a story of the piccolo snare, and in New York City, we experienced that weather too, Mike. Well, yeah, you gotta imagine weather travels, so this is probably it. We don't mind if you don't. Nah, I don't mind, guys. I am a habitual sweater. What I call what I call chancers. Yeah, chancers. That's a good word. No, I'm all right, guys. I'm sweating out, but I'm a habitual sweater. If you show me like a fireplace on a TV screen, I'll start sweating. So that's just me. Yeah, guys. I can't open up the windows. Hey, welcome, guys. I can't. I can't open the window here. It would just be too loud. But that's all right. I'll bear with it. And the other guy, I had a piccolo snare that I was selling. And again, it's the same story. I gave him a description, took pictures of it. This is what it is. I get it to him, and he says, "This is not a 19-inch. This is a 14 or 15-inch or whatever excuse he had." And I said, "Okay, you're just in France. Send it back to me. It's not that big of a freight." And he said, "Reverb is so iffy these days." And so, and I'm telling these stories because I'm showing you it's on the seller and the buyer side. And he says, "No, I can't send it back to you because it's got some scratches on it that I made, since I've had it." You damaged it in the 2 hour, the 2 days that you've had it for about a day and a half now, and you're saying you've damaged and you can't send it back, but I owe you some kind of refund? Okay. And, and again, he screwed himself by saying in the messaging that it was damaged. Because then easily I could have gone to Reverb and say, "Hey, look, this guy is just really obnoxious here." But you know what I did? I said, "Look, dude, I'll give you back the cost of shipping on it, and we'll call it a day." And he said, "Okay, but in the future you should really be careful about your average something." It's like it's just like yeah, man. Yeah, dig it. And so this is and again so yeah, a couple of stories there on the buyer and the seller side, guys. Where and it's just gone downhill. And there's really no recourse, and there's no policing, and the scams on Reverb are off the chart now. The old again, because you have to send the tracking. Yeah, I'm going to send you tracking on something. It's going to be a box, with a container full of urine or something. I've heard stories of, and that's your $1,200, $1,500 guitar that you bought from somebody, and and that type of scam has just increased. I mean, guys, if you have a situation, I'm not picking on the states, but I am pointing it out that it's becoming a little bit of an epidemic where you have people ever since Etsy purchased Reverb. Well, yeah, that's it. Thank you, Mickey. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because that's exactly what it is. They took it over and they ran it to the gram. It's time for us to finalize our trifecta guitar collections that will never be sold or traded. Yeah, right, buddy. Easier said than done. We're all like, this is the one. it's a, you know. Some of us, unfortunately, in our personal relationships, we did the same thing. Oh, this is the one, and then next week, maybe this is the one. I was certainly that way when I was a teenager. That's funny. Yeah, we'll give it a shot, but I'm not putting my eggs in that basket, all of them. But it's gotten to be pretty bad, guys. It's not great. It's actually it's quite alarming. And as I was pointing out, in the States, you have these instances where you have these mobs of people going into these stores and they're grabbing things off the shelf. In my home state of California, you can walk into a Guitar Center, and if you steal something that's under the threshold of $900, they can't do you. You're not going to write a ticket. Nothing's going to happen to you, basically. Now try getting out of the front doors. There's that many one. Yeah, Maddie, dig that. There really are. Try getting out, because I saw one guy trying to get out of one Guitar Center on YouTube. You can look. He was trying to get out with something, and he got a handful of whoop ass. They were handing out chewing gum and whoop ass, and they ran out of chewing gum on that guy. But yeah, so of course, um, it's so bad out there here with the stealing. It's insane. Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. So why would you not? A platform like Reverb, especially with Etsy running it into the ground, that would, if I was an opportunist, that would be far more appealing to me than running into a store. I fell for a scam on Reverb, an ACUS acoustic amp, got a harmonica, not urine. Also got a full refund minus shipping. Don't know if this is sustainable for Reverb. I heard this past week that it's a crime in LA to stop people stealing anything under $1,000. You'll get charged. Yes, exactly correct, Ben. That is correct. So not only, so the store personnel, like those guys at the Guitar Center, they were handing out whoop ass when you're trying to walk out the door. The new law says if you see somebody stealing and they walk in and they're walking out the door or something, as long as it's under that threshold, and I don't know, do you like scan it on the way out? Sir, that's 1001. Brutus, kick his ass and take him out to the back. Or, I don't know how that works, but yeah, the staff can't do anything. And if they do, then they're the ones that'll get charged. Insane. It's clown world. It's when the lunatics run the asylum. I always thought of LA as an open air asylum anyway. How is that a thing? That is just ludicrous. Yeah, you guys think that's ludicrous, but that is a fact. That is 100% a fact. So $900 below threshold, you can shoplift. And if you're a staff member or somebody who works in the store, then, well, that's exactly what it is. It's gotten to just open the doors and give them away, Don Juan said. Yes, that's exactly what it comes down to, isn't it? How can a business like the Guitar Center is called upside down liberal garbage? Yeah, it is. It's exactly what it is. Until it affects them. Until it touches them. And then they want to write tougher rules, Yeah. Same everywhere, a lot of places. And so we look at a shop like the Guitar Center, and all this is going to lead into our next section. We look at a shop like the Guitar Center, and we're like, dude, what are they going to mark everything up to $1,000 like that? And I'm sorry about that harmonica, by the way. I didn't touch upon that. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm glad that you at least got most of your money back. But yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. It's anything. There's a lot of stuff that they send out. And again, it's just gotten worse. Idiocracy is real. Yeah, yeah. You're absolutely right. Now, until it affects their bottom line, then it becomes an issue. That's correct. And that's where that game has played out since I was a kid and long after I'm gone, trust me. But in any case, how can a business like that survive? Because anybody can walk into a Guitar Center in California. They can go up to my favorite one up there in Hollywood, or one that I used to hang out the most, and just walk out with any Epiphone they want to, because those are under $1,000. Man, I have a part-time. Oh, good, cool. You guys are talking. Yeah, and what's to stop them from walking out with an Epiphone guitar, or any other sub $1,000 guitar? And staff can't do jack. I'm scared to buy this guitar I wanted for me. Well, don't be scared. See, there are some good things. So before we move on to the next subject, let's talk about the things that you need to do to protect yourself on Reverb. From my experience, and I've been on there for quite a while now, and again, preferred seller. Hey, it's just $9.99. That's right. Hey man, it's just $9.99, so I'm good. Don't put your goons on me. You can't do anything. Who and how do you enforce this? Again, it's like, you know, you know, yeah, you know. Don't be scared. Really, preferred seller, somebody who's got a good track record, and read those comments. Those ratings are there to let you know what other people said. If they don't be scared, go to LA. Please tell me I'm all yours. Yeah. Those reviews down at the bottom of the seller are really important. Um, because if there's just a few and they're really glowing, then I don't trust the seller. And also, how many items has that seller done? Is it a one-off guy? Is this guy done stuff before? A few or something? Those are the things you want to investigate who you're buying from, because most people here have morals, thank God. Yeah, we all have morals. It is I'll put a pin in the Reverb thing for it, just to address that. You know, you're either a solid person or you're not, and that's all it comes down to. There's this guy I'm following on YouTube right now, completely unrelated thing. It's because of the Danny Masterson trial. I've been watching that because I grew up on that '70s show, and a couple of other programs that he was in. A Minute Work, I like that show, and I was just fascinated with the story. And this guy came in and he was talking about what Danny can expect when he goes to prison. And guys, he is screwed 6 ways to Sunday. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But that guy, his life is over. But this guy went to prison, been in 3 sentences, and now he's starting a support group to help people to get off on various substance abuse stuff, things that they were on, and just a solid guy. So solid guys can come from everywhere, all walks of life. They can have epiphany and be doing the wrong thing and do the right thing. But a solid guy is a solid guy. Once you're a solid guy, it's hard to fall off from that because you have morals. You've got a guideline and you've got solid people around you because you recognize that. And unfortunately, we are in an environment where the non-solid guys, non-solid folks, are calling a lot of the shots. Yeah, he screwed it literally, metaphorically, and literally. What did that guy say? He said Danny Masterson is on. Once he hits the yard, he's on NC status. NC status means nothing coming. You got nothing coming. Means if you're making a phone call to your old lady and somebody wants to get on the phone, they're gonna come up and hang up the phone on and say, "Hey, beat it." If he's putting his clothes in the dryer, they're gonna take his clothes out, throw them out, and tell him beat it because he's got nothing coming because of this what he did. In California and California prison system, what he's charged with is no bueno, man. And he's at the bottom of a place where everybody's at the bottom, the lowest of the low. So yeah. But solid guy talking, reporting on it, and I like guys like that. He's been through some stuff, and he came out the other end, and I can respect that. But we are being led by people who are not solid people, so it is incumbent upon you to try to keep solid people around you. Is the point of all that. Anyway, a little bit of a digression there. Reverb sellers down below where they're listing, you know, the hey, how did it go? You know, the comments. You really want to pay attention to that. You want to pay attention to how many deals this particular seller has done. Um, if it's a one-off kind of guy, then start a little dialogue there in the message. Hey, could you send me some additional pictures of this guitar? I want to check out this part or that or another. If he says cool and he sends it to you real quick, chances and the pictures look legit, chances are, you know, you're doing. If he says no, I'm at work right now and I'll get to it when I get to, maybe that's somebody that you don't want to deal with because again, you know, or if they don't get back to you with in that case, hey, I'm at work, but I'll do it. If they don't get back within 24 hours, that's also a red flag. These are all red flag things you're looking for. You're looking for, does the seller respond quickly? Has the seller done a lot of deals? Are the comments substantial? Are there a lot of comments? If he's done a lot of deals and he's only got 4 comments, that there's something there, you know, or you know, or the obverse of that. So pay attention to those things on Reverb. Now, you guys, it's incumbent upon you to really kind of be your own Sherlock Holmes with these guys, and your gut will tell you too. You know, and also know the gear, know the piece of gear that you're buying, know it inside out. Research. Hey, man, you got one of these, and you know the piece of gear that you're interested in. Look at other examples of that. Where is the script at on the top? How does the bridge set? Where are the pickups in relationship? You know, look at the little fine details and look at what the guy is selling and make sure that matches up, make sure everything is straight, make sure that the seller is listing it as correct. In the case of my Squire Affinity, the seller, even though I got it for a bargain, he had listed it as one of the Strats, not the Affinity. Squire was making Strats and they were making Affinity. Again, it was a traditional line back then in the mid 90s, and then they started the Squire Affinity line in the late 90s. And so I was a little bummed out about that, but it's such a great guitar. And guys, just as a side note, I love that Strat. I know a lot of you guys are out there are like, dude, and all I can say is, dude. I'm really loving that guitar. It needs some work. It needs some work, but I am loving it. I find myself picking it up quite often. Unlike the Harley Benton. Just kidding. These are the red flags. These are things you want to check out for on Reverb. And you really, it's really, I say it a lot, but it is incumbent upon you. I'm gonna make it to you. It's incumbent upon you. It is a necessity of you. It is to do your homework on it, and then place the deal. As you saw, you know, there was a shady thing that happened there. Unfortunately, with the harmonica being shipped instead of the amp. But there, Etsy, you know, if you got a good track of things, I'm glad you came around to the Strat world. Yeah. I've been pulled into the dark side. But these are the red flags you want to look out for, guys, when you're dealing with Reverb these days, because it's a snake pit now. It is just known. You know, it's funny. It's like it cools off in here, and then it gets hot, and then it cools off. You know, I've had enough of this. Yeah, I'm going to turn that off, guys. Having that blinding light in my face was not helping. Red flags, guys. Look out for red flags. Check them out. Be very careful who you're buying from. You know, if it's an established seller, then you've got probably no problems. But again, this was an established seller, and they were pooling. They did a little bit of counting trickery there. So you know, be aware of that as well. How we doing out there? What do we got here? Yeah, traditional series. That purple Strat I was telling you guys about a few shows ago, a 99 Squire Traditional and Galactic. Yes, sir. That's right. And that's the one I thought that I was getting, because that's here that they had some funky colors. But I do know that Arctic White was correct, and I had done my homework. Is this Arctic White? Yeah, it's Arctic White. All right, okay. Then it must be, you know, one of the traditional Squire Strats from that time. But it ended up being an Affinity, but I'm happy with it. which is going to get into our next subject. Um, you know, I'm kind of on this thing, guys. I'm really, and you're gonna get sick of me talking about it. Can't wait to hear those pickups in the SG. Yeah, I can't wait to hear it either. You know, it could go either way. You know, putting the crap I had to go through in order to get these aside. You know, this is a crapshoot, guys. I'm going to tell you that these look fantastic, and the shipping on these, the packaging on this is top class. I mean, it wasn't, you know, wrapped up in toilet paper. It's actually vacuum sealed and well done. And you know, I can tell cheap pickups usually sometimes just by their weight, and these have a substantialness to them. So, you know, these could actually be awesome. They could actually be better. Or I could find them better, again, subjective, than the ones I have in there. I'm very interested. I'll do that pickup swap this week when we do part 2 of that show. But, yeah, you know, you guys are going to get sick of me talking about this. But talking about strats and falling in love with them, yeah, you know, I'm actually finding myself when I'm flipping and I'm looking for guitars to buy, to trade, or to deal, I've started looking at strats a lot more. I had a client this week contact me, and they wanted a 1973 Yamaha SG 35. It's a bolt neck guitar. Obscurity of obscurity, guys. But I like the challenge. I kind of dig that. And so I accepted. I said, okay, I'll find it for you. So I've been digging around and doing the homework on it, and it got me thinking again about what I was talking about last week about them producing too many doggone guitars. You know, again, indulge me, guys, indulge me, because you know, I don't want to become Mike the the ecologist per se, but I am alarmed by the fact that Fender said that they canceled 600,000 guitars orders, 200,000 amps, when, because of the fact that there's such a glut in the market. Speaking of Reverb, my gosh, everybody's discounting. 200 off, 300 off, on the smaller one, 25 off, you know, everything on scale. And the discounts are flowing because there is just so much inventory out there. And you know, they had to cancel those orders because nobody, their dealers were like, you know, me give up because the stuff that we have is not moving. And you know, crap flows uphill, as they say, and that's reflecting in Reverb in the used market as well. It's just a glut out there. It's a terrible time. Unless you're like me, I do like rare guitars from Japan and stuff like that. So I have a kind of a niche. So for me, it's okay. It ain't great, but I'm doing okay. For a guy like Barry Witt, guys like that, you know, they're unhappy, and because of the fact that they're being pushed this new inventory when even the stuff they have to sell at below map. And you know, it got me thinking along, you know, when he asked for that. Boy, here's another guitar that was made back in the 70s, and it's still desirable. It's still functional. It's something that this guy loves. He's a musician here in Amsterdam. As a matter of fact, he's invited me to his concert. I shall go see that and check that out. Maybe I'll bring you guys along. And just thinking about, and then again getting back to that Squire Affinity, and the fact that, you know, dude, we have so many used guitars out there that are great that need a home. You know, in this madness, and I know if you don't produce new product, if you don't put out the newest, shiniest, blingiest thing, and you get your YouTube guys to say, hey guys, look at this, it's a new such and such, don't you want it? You know, you're dead. I understand that. we're going to get to a tipping point. You know, there's going to be a tipping point here. You know, we joke about having X Y Z amount of guitars. That's fine. I would prefer that you would be looking in the used lots than in the new lots for that. Too much in the market and not enough demand. People are feeling the money pinch. Unless it's rare, it's not worth it. But you know, even with the my Squire, outer body, figured maple neck. I showed you guys that neck. It's got good figuring in it, and a true rosewood fretboard. That is the class. Yeah, it's thinner than a tradition by 3 millimeters, but a strat's a strat, isn't it? I said production will outstrip demand ages ago. Yeah, you did, Mickey. You did. And what did they do? So there was a shortage, you know, during the pandemic because there was such a surge in sales. And of course, I'm at Fender and I'm thinking, fantastic. Let's hire, we talked about this. Let's hire all these new people in to build these guitars to meet this demand that was an artificial demand. They were chasing the dragon, guys. Okay? There's no other way to look at it. There's no, I mean, and if they thought otherwise, then they're all on crack. Because again, like the California laws, you look at that and you're like, what were you thinking when you did this? Here in Amsterdam, they came out with a law that said that they're going to start paying for the recycling on plastic bottles. And they're going to open up all these recycling centers, and all you do is bring in these plastic bottles, put it in, and you'll get a nickel, equivalent of about a nickel in U.S. for these bottles. Every bum in town every morning goes through every single trash can, and they ain't dainty about it. They rip the bag out, rip it open, tear through it, grab all the plastic bottles and run down to wherever, and you walk through the parks now, and it's just full of trash caused by their great legislation, which I don't know why they didn't think, okay, maybe this is going to lead to other problems. So what's the solution to that? Now they have to hire these mobile cleaning crews that are going to go around and clean up behind this. Do you understand where I'm going? And Fender is no different. It's like, what were you thinking? And you really wonder sometimes. So I said, solid, non-solid people are running things. But in any case, you got to really wonder what Fender was thinking. And they were basing upon an artificial sales market, a buyer's market. And of course, as was just pointed out, too much in the market and not enough demand, and production would outstrip demand, as Don Juan and Mickey pointed out just now. Oh yeah, I have no doubt, Ben. We can get into that. I mean, I don't mind going there because this is a live stream, and I like to keep it more dimensional than just, hey, look at the new shiny thing I got. Hey, great, fantastic. Well, what went into that shiny thing, and is that shiny thing something that's actually good or bad? It's just this production. Gosh, and then to read that they're going through a truckload of wood per shift at the Court plant in Indonesia. Man, dude, come on now. It is, there aren't enough. And there will not be enough buyers ever to satisfy the demand of the kind of production that they're doing. And I know I harp on this, guys, a lot, but I play that Strat, and because it's 23 years old, the wood has settled. It's settled. Too much growth has always killed our industry. You cannot manufacture demand. Well, they tried to do it in the beginning of the 20th century. That's why the middle class was created. Ford said, "Hey, I know a buyer for this car. We're going to pay the guys who are working here a wage. We're going to pay these guys a solid wage so that they can afford to buy these cars and maybe also a house and do all these things." And it created a middle class. So sometimes you can manufacture demand, but not in this case. No, not in this case. No, because again, I told you, 100 people buy a guitar, 10 of them are going to stick with it. And of those 10, only one of those are going to be the kind of 30, 40, kind of guitar buyer. Maybe I'll even say 2 out of 10. So of that 10, 20% of those guys are going to be, that continuous buyer. The other ones are going to be, are going to be from the I'm good department to the, every 10 years or 15 years or so, I might pick up something. That's just how that is. And and what are you going to do with that? They tried to create these bogus surveys to say that there's been this huge increase in female guitar players. I haven't seen it. They're out there, and some of them are damn good. Not getting to sexist or anything like that. That's not my point. My point is that there's just as many female guitar players as there was before the pandemic as there is now. There's no quantifiable proof that shows that statement that Fender came out with is true. So, dig that. So, I get upset about it. I've been really digging, because I dig that Strat. I think that it is the wood has settled. It's alder, body out again, alder body, maple neck, rosewood. 23, 22 years old guitar, and it's a ringer. Because the wood is dried out, the neck's settled, everything's great. It's just a wonderful guitar, and I would prefer to have that over a brand new Strat, because it would take 23 years for the wood on that Strat to get to where this one is. What is a Strat? It's an outer body, American-made Strat, or even some of the Mexican or outer bodies, maple neck. You guys know. And I really am anti this overproduction. I'm really against it, and it's starting to stick to me. It's starting to get in my craw, and to the point where I am going to talk about it from time to time. I am going to bring it up, because it's not good. It's really not a good thing. There needs to be a price drop. How many of us wants to spend $3,000 on a Gibson guitar? That's funny. I was looking at an ad for a guy who was selling a Gibson guitar. This was a 1995 Les Paul that he was selling. And he originally listed it on Reverb for the same price that a brand new one is going for. Around here is about $3,300. Then he dropped it down to $2,500. And still nobody's taking it. There's still no takers on it. And so even in that regard, that 10%, again, getting back to, which is us, by the way, I'm talking about us. We are that 10%. Some of us fall on this spectrum, some of us fall on this end of the spectrum, but we are that 10%. We're looking at tightening the belt. We're looking at we're not looking at spending, and so there goes your demand right out the door. And so it doesn't matter what price a Gibson can come out with, or their newest shiniest thing, and they'll force the retailers to buy them and put them on their racks, so somebody in California can walk out the door with it. I guess you can count that as a sale, because about this time and in this environment, that's about the only one you're gonna get. And so it's just, to me, I'm flabbergasted by it, guys. I'm disturbed by it. I guess it's maybe the artist side of me coming out. Maybe that side of me. It's like, hey, this is nature, and you're going through a lot of wood, and a lot of metal, and a lot of plastic, and a lot of the things that comes from that. Check out these guitarists: Samantha Fish, Allie, Molly Miller. Just throw them out there. Blues rockin'. Yeah. I'll give you the original one, Big Mama Thornton. Check her out. You want to hear something? You want to hear? Had a three pickup SG. Dig that. Talk about rock and roll. So yeah, and then my all-time favorite, hey Eddie, my all-time favorite, of course, being Joni Mitchell. Love her, love Joni, I love her. She's been such a joy in my life to sit back and just put on her albums and just let it play all the way through. Rosanna, no doubt. Yeah, I will check out Samantha Fish. I do know Ali and Molly Miller. I need to check out. But yeah, yeah. So a lot of good female guitar players out there. You know, a lot of people I like. Sex doesn't matter to me. I just want to hear what you're playing and what you're saying. That's what I want to hear what you got to say. The fruit, you know the fruit. You know the tree from its fruit. You know, and the fruit it produces. And there's some ladies out there who produce just some lovely fruit, just breathtaking, that we've been blessed to have in our lifetimes. So, guys, that's just on that subject. I wanted to touch upon that tonight because we talk about wood in guitars, and I was reading this article here about the construction because I was curious. Hey, welcome. And talking about guitar woods because I'm fascinated. I'm kind of a nerd. I think we've all established that, and I do a lot of research, a lot of looking into things, just reading. I was reading this article about guitar woods like maple provides a sharp pick attack and quick decay and generates a strong fundamental response without major overtone colorization. Wow, that's a whole mouthful on what maple in your guitar does. Strong fundamental response without major overtone coloration. Hit the likes, guys. Thank you, Maddie. I see 16 out there and 10 likes. If you haven't hit the likes yet, do that. And I was fascinated. Wow, what does that mean? Major overtone colorization. And I read that line and I said, I've got to read this line to the guys. I've got on the live stream. I've got to share this because if this is not major overtone colorization, provides a sharp pick attack and quick decay and generates a strong fundamental response without major overtone colorization. What the hell does that mean? I've read it now to you guys twice, and I still don't know what it means. And I said to myself, who wrote this article? It's a guitar player, so it's not like it's coming out of late to the party. But Reverb, if we talk about pedals, it's crazy how cheap to expensive they get, and everyone has a different opinion on using a pedal or an amp or whatever. I love using pedal because of. Okay, yeah, no, we can hit on that for a minute, Steve. We can go back to it 1 second. We were talking about marketing BS, right, Maddie? I agree. We were talking about Reverb and the price drops and things of that nature. And yes, pedals, we discussed the insanity of pedals quite a bit on these live streams recently. And so, that's another kind of canary in the coal mine, isn't it? Amps is another thing. Amps is I don't know of any retailer like Barry or some of the other guys I know here. I always walk up to their amp room and I always see the same amps. And unfortunately, they're not decreasing. I see more coming in. They're buying them because, again, it's an asset, and if they can get it at the right price, it has some value to it. But they're not moving. You thought guitars weren't moving? Guitar amps? Because people have moved on to modelers and things of that nature. So amps is another canary. They're not moving. like they are, but they sure are pumping them out there. 200,000 amps Fender had to cancel their order on? Who the hell was going to buy those 200,000 amps? Would you rather buy, if you had the money to buy an amp or you had the model to buy a modeler, which one do you think nowadays would be probably the better buy? You know, my board here that I use for recording, but I still have my amp in there that I use to do demos for YouTube for and just to play myself. I only need one. Now I've got one. What the hell? Do I need a stack of them? Oh, Mike, you inspired me to go ampless, man. I sold all my amps. I've acquired a Boss. Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm saying. Some kind of racket going on. Yeah, it's all racket. And that's what I'm saying, you know. A lot of cats are selling. I use 2 amps, but 15 guitars. Hey, that sounds like a cool ratio to me. I mainly use my computer and Tonex now to practice them, but yeah, they take up too much space, and you know, a lot of people don't want to carry that kind of weight. You know, in that regard, I've talked about where some things have advanced and some things haven't. Yeah, modeling is the new thing for sure, and amps are super amazing, but man, they're having a lot of places. Yeah, again, you know, we're a convenience society now. When I was growing up, I'm dating myself, but in the 80s, when I was, in my teenage years, in the 80s, it was labor intensive. We had to carry the amps, but we were expected to do that because they had been doing it for 20, 30 years before us, And so, from the 50s on. And it was a pain in the butt. But you were young and you wanted to do that. Fast forward to today, we've turned into a convenience society. Too damn heavy and I'm no spring chicken, yeah. We've moved to a convenience society. For an older guy like me, this ampless rig is a far more attractive item to have in my possession over an amp. It is. And a lot of folks out there, younger, are looking at the modelers because, quite frankly, that's the end thing, and that's what's going on, and that's what their friends have. And so, therefore, that's what they're going to be talking about. Their friends aren't all sitting around talking about, dude, man, I got this 73 Marshall stack. It's awesome. Could you loan me your pickup truck so that we could take it down? No, them days are over. No, dude, I got this modeler. It's got some of the best 73 Marshall, IRs I've ever heard in it, So, yeah, and it's moved on in that direction. So amps are canary in the coal mine too, But the fact that they were planning on making 200,000 of them for a dying market, what's up with that? And honestly, the modeling or captures sound pretty dang close to the real guys. Your average Joe Blow who doesn't know jack. I mean, it's like you take a guitar to your girlfriend and you say to her on Monday, you show her the guitar, you say, hey babe, what do you think about this guitar? Oh, I like it, I like the color. Oh, okay. You could get a completely different guitar and you take it to her on Friday and say, hey babe, what do you think about it? She'll say, oh, that's the guitar from Monday, I like it. True hours are good and the people can't tell. That's what I'm getting to. Most ordinary people can't make those kind. Oh, that was a Strat, but this one you brought to me on Friday is a Tele. All I know is that they were both white guitars. Oh, that other white guitar or the other red one? And most people are that way sonically with their ears. They can hear a good recording. When you listen to a Luther Vandross recording from back in the day when they were really using the top studios and all the top stuff, and you even now, when you hear those recordings, you recognize that as a quality recording. You say, hey, that sounds good. But you're not going to sit there and debate whether or not the piano on it is a DX7 or if it's a real piano, because you don't know that. You don't care. Most people don't make that kind of distinction. And they're not going to make a distinction between a Marshall stack mic'd and a Marshall stack in your modeler. Nobody's going to make that kind of distinction. Does it sound good or not? And those modelers have gotten so good Which modeler do you like to use now? If you're talking about me, over here, I have a board, my Metro pedal train that's set up as my kind of modeler. Going into my Fender buffer, going into this is our, a hardware modeler, I like to call it. It's an ampless pedal rig. Um, there's a tube involved, and it's actually a real tube amp. So I've replicated everything that you would go through the signal train, a chain of an amp, and that's what I use. And I like it because it's interchangeable. It's one thing that I can do is I can swap pedals, and I can achieve different sounds with it. But it's ampless. If you would, unless I'm running this through something or headphones, you would never hear it. But it wails. It's nice, and it tells me if there's a problem with the guitar or not. It's that sensitive that I can hear if there's buzzing, if there's something. So yeah, this is my ampless rig, but and I use it, you know, more than I use my Laney in there. And like I said, I got a pretty damn good 1x12 amp in there that I've put together. But yeah, that trend is over for amps. Nobody's really interested in that. Nice. It has to be versatile. But yeah. I wanted to be versatile again because, like I said, I'm recording different tracks, and yeah, I had a modeler I could do that. But I like the tactileness of it. I don't want to be scrolling on a screen and selecting and doing things like that, running software. I'm still kind of a tactile kind of guy, so hitting buttons, the end result is the same. As long as you have high quality, it's not cheap. This board right here, as it stands, is about $1,000 that I've put into it. And so I had a choice between that $1,000 going into this or buying a decent modeler, which I could do, and I decided to go this route. But yeah, dig that. Getting back to this, guys. Jargon, yes, indeed. A lot of jargon, and that's the last thing I wanted to talk about tonight, because we're talking about shadiness in the music. If you happen to deduce that is the theme tonight. I didn't announce that in the beginning. But as you know, my cat is just making his noise. Never mind him. As you know, I always have a central theme, and tonight is just shadiness in the market, in the gear market. And this kind of stuff, variations in sonic density and weight, can endow bodies cut from the same board with markedly different tone colors. Do you guys have these kind of conversations with each other? Like, dude, man, how was that new Strat? Oh, well, it had markedly, differentiated tone colors to it. I guess. I've never had that conversation. And I'm reading this, and this is supposed to be to beginners, to describe to them about how tone was, and I can't even get past the major overtone colorization. Hey, Eddie. Yes, I know I will be off soon, and I will give you a snack. You just have to wait. Demanding little guy. But yeah, I read this and I just think about it's more marketing crap and jargon and meaningless words. Mahogany is preferred by players looking for a warm, round tone. Smooth attack and rich singing sustain characterize the sound of this light to moderately heavy wood. When mahogany is extremely heavy, it loses the warm, round attributes that make it a desirable tone. Well, here you've said too, it has mahogany is preferred for players looking for a warm, round tone, but if it's too heavy, it has no warm, round tone. So, again, it's just my Strat conversion. I prefer Reverb boards and using neck pickups. And I'll try to figure out tone what makes it. I'm still trying to figure out tone what makes it. Yeah, it's kind of when I was digging. It's why I've been studying and reading into this week. Because marketing and sales credit. Because I've been looking into the fact that Squire Affinity from 2001 has an outer body, and again. in a rosewood, a real rosewood neck. You know, one of the things that I didn't point out in my video talking about the Harley Benton guitar is they use a Jatoba for their fretboard material. And that's the other thing that I don't like about it. You know, I thought that I could, you know, I'm okay with Indian Laurel. I'm okay with it. I'm not happy with it, but I'm okay with it. It works for me. I've had several Indian Laurel guitars come through. You guys know that. But at the end of the day, you know, rosewood really is, and I don't even like ebony. I'm not a big ebony guy. Rosewood is really the thing. And, you know, on that level of guitar for that price these days, you're not going to get that. No, I'm not touching that Strat, Mickey. No way, sir. That thing has lived 22 years. It came out of the production out of China in Guangzhou. Somehow in 22 years, nobody changed a single solitary thing on it. I'm not going to be that guy and do that. I'm going to take it into Fern. There is a buzz. I told you because they're in serial. The 1, 3, and 5 position on the switch has some hum there, some 60 cycle hum. So I'm going to do something as far as that's concerned. But no, I'm not. I'm not modding that thing at all. And that's the point. Is that, you know, I'm incredulous that you can get for under $100 a better guitar than the current ones, because the current ones don't have rosewood fretboards on them anymore. Those are Indian Laurel or other things. And the outer body thing was something that they vacillated between. Sometimes they had it, sometimes they don't. But the fact is that this guitar, you know, has all the classic combinations, but the wiring on the guitar, well, I'm not going to mod it. I'm going to, if there's a problem, it ends up being a problem with the pots of the caps, and it's 23 years old, so that's a strong possibility. Then I'll replace those with the identical or equivalents of, because when you start getting into whether you got a 100K pot, a 300K pot, or a 500K pot, that can make a huge difference in your tone. And so you want to make sure that you put in the same pots. If you like your tone, you know, play around. You know, don't play around with your pots too much. If you don't like your tone, then play around with your pots. Is more of that. But no, I'm not going to make any changes to it. But again, like I said, this guitar has better features than the current ones. Why would I go out and rush to buy the current one if I can find the older one in good condition, which you can? I don't want to. I want to pay the same price for a Power for All and in no as I would for again. Yeah, it's not like they're giving it at a discount. Oh, we're not giving you rosewood anymore, so let's start doing, you know, a discount on this. We're going to take off extra $50 because we've switched over to Indian Laurel. No, they switched over to Indian Laurel and they increased the prices as far as Epiphones are concerned. Does the Adam Jones guitar have a rosewood fretboard on it? I don't think so. I think that's Indian Laurel. I know every Epiphone, and I've had two high-end Epiphones so far come through here, and they all had Indian Laurel boards, and that's where I felt cheated. That's the funny thing. That's where I felt cheated. That's the only thing. Lots of those Chinese Strats had 5/8Ks in a change 250. They were bright. Yeah, they were bright because those are ceramic pickups in there, and so you know you gotta kind of play around with that a little bit because they can get right on you. We'll see if anybody. I think that I'm pretty sure that this is stock on mine. I haven't taken the pick guard off yet to take a look underneath there. But yeah, we'll see. I like the tone of it. I like, somebody said, hey, a couple of weeks ago, hey man, you try the 2 and 4 position, you're gonna fall in love. I love the 4 position on that guitar. It is the quintessential Strat sound. There's a Justin Bieber song out there. Not that I'm a big Justin Bieber fan, but the guy was on YouTube who did the track, and he used a 2001 Squier Affinity because it has he said it has a tonality that modern Strats don't have. And to my ear, it's the classic Strat sound. When I plugged it here in my ampless board and I ran it through my F1 Fender amp, boy, that was the American sound right there. That classic Strat going through a Fender amp. It was it. And I fell in love. I was like, you know what? This is a little tool in my toolbox that I really need to have had a little bit sooner than now. All right, guys. I am going to say, oh, Yasmin aside, call it quits because I'm burning up. As a matter of fact, I really need to go in there and throw some cold water on my face because I'm sweating, dude. Maybe black wasn't the right choice tonight either. But I am going to say goodnight to you guys. I want to, again, if you guys go to Bandcamp, do me a solid, guys, and go over to Bandcamp and take a look at the album that I've done. Some of you guys have purchased it. I appreciate it. You guys who have bought it so far, God bless you. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Hey, Ben, take care of yourself. For the cost of a lunch at McDonald's, you can support this channel by running over there and taking a look at that album. Asanoki on is the name of the band. Ants in the Pantry is the name of the record. Only on Bandcamp. This week coming up, we're going to do part 2 of that breakdown on the Harley Benton. Put these in and see how they sound. Man, I'm going to be so jazzed if these end up being really great sounding pickups. So far, they look good. They got a good heft to them. I can't wait to hear that sound, and I'm sure you guys can certainly be interested in hearing that too. So look forward to that coming up. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you guys are out in the world. Again, whether you're watching this in the live stream or you're going to catch this in the rerun, I want to thank you so much for doing so, wherever time of day that you fell in. I want to say thank you. I want to thank you guys for showing up tonight. Great night tonight. Fantastic conversation. You guys take care of yourselves. I've got to go cool off because I am dying. Good night, guys. Or good morning, good afternoon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.